Okay, I have picture, I have stream. We look good. Okay, so yeah, this is the PC version. I do actually have the game on both Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. I've played it on the Xbox One X up to about mission 16, I think, which I pretty much did in one sitting, and then I haven't actually touched the game since, which might sound like a bad thing 2 weeks ago. It's not. I've just done other things. I went over to Ace Combat 5, the PS4 remaster, platinumed that, because why not? And then just other things in the meantime while I decided to wait for the PC version. Benefit of the PC version is obviously this one I can actually play online if I want, because that's free, no subscriptions needed. And well, other than that, there's just more potential things I enjoy, like taking screenshots. All that's just much easier. Boost those graphic settings up. Oh, sorry about that. So, unlocked last night. I have played it a bit, but I've only actually played the first 4 missions and sort of replayed them a bit, grinding out some money for the base aircraft and upgrades, and also got some of the special skins. I felt a need to, having done on the Xbox the sort of rush through, playing through 16 missions one after another. I wanted to take it at a slower pace, unlock a few more things first, and just sort of enjoy it that sort of way instead. And now we're streaming. And as you can see, one of the changes the game has made straight away is there is apparently no New Game Plus or SP New Game anymore. You can, no matter how far through the story you've got, you can restart the story at any time, but you keep all your progress. So, the downside of that is there doesn't actually seem to be a way to just start a completely new game, wiping your save completely. You'll probably have to go through the game file, your PC files or on console, and delete the save game that way, which easy enough to do on PC. And of course on PC, with this sort of game which only ever gives you one save file, it's generally quite easy to copy that file, back it up, rename it, and then you can start a new game. But if you want to go back to your other game with everything unlocked, you can, usually pretty easily. So, that's nice. And let's get this going. And of course we're doing hard. I have played nothing else.
Does the color of the sky mean anything special to you? It does to me. A hell of a lot.
It's a nice heat haze effect going on.
When I close my eyes, the sky in my dreams is a deep, dark blue. Pilots have been in my family for 4 generations. Flying's in my DNA. Even so, my grandpa didn't want me joining the Air Force. He lost faith in the Ocean Air Defense the day my dad died in battle.
You know, Abby, I wish you could see what it's like up there. Cruising above the clouds, the dark blue of the stratosphere. Nothing beats being at the controls and seeing it from the cockpit. Look here.
Actually, I'm going to mute the microphone for a bit and just see how these volume settings are seeming.
Unmanned fighters are no longer a dream, it read. Pilots taking to the skies will soon be a distant memory.
I don't see anything good coming from that.
Know what? Lying smack dab in the middle of the desert west of here, there's a bunch of planes from the last war. Some of them have been mothballed, but most of them are just rusted piles of junk waiting to be
Right, general conclusion there is I'll probably give the game audio a bit of a boost once the cutscene's over.
He got to take whatever he wanted, no questions asked. That's how we got the parts to build our own plane. Now, when I say we, I mean me, my grandpa, and his old war buddies. I cut my teeth working with those geezers. They taught me their skills, and some dirty jokes. But with their aging eyeballs and whatnot, I ended up having to do most of the work myself. I was at the airstrip doing some flight training when I saw it. A prototype drone. It wasn't much of a plane, more of a trash can with wings.
Laugh at it all you want, kid. But technology's always changing. If you don't keep up with it, It'll leave your ass behind.
It took 6 years and 8 months to get that engine running. And it took us another year and a half after that to finally get the balance of the airframe just right. I'd gone from being a little girl to, well, still a girl, just older. But now, I was all alone. Wherever the souls of my Gramps and his pals are flying, I hope it's peaceful.
The old F-104 Starfighter.
Then, finally, I was ready to break the sound barrier. All this
Otherwise
light
known
could
as
do
the
was take
Widowmaker.
off, accelerate, and fly up.
Still like the touch of seeing the
So,
compression of the air inside the intake.
straight up, through the clouds, higher into the sky.
Even stripped down, I'm not sure about going supersonic in a climb.
I could almost touch it. Then I saw Osius fighters. They were tailing something. A drone. They were going full out chasing that thing. Doing 30 Gs at least. Damn, I've never seen anything move that fast. It had a rose painted on it. The Erusian emblem. But that country's a whole continent away from here.
Right. You should have put in my event system, this piece of junk. Should have built a deterrent too.
Very gung-ho. I'm sure it had a radio.
Settle down. I said settle down.
Okay, so it's an Ace Combat game, and that means there is always a tradition for the first mission, and well, I say that, Ace Combat 5 kind of craps on that idea, but generally there's a tradition where you're going to be shooting down some bombers.
Site informed us that a group of unidentified aircraft was approaching. Communication systems went down immediately afterwards. We are led to conclude that they have attacked the site.
In this case, it's some Tupolev 95 Bears, which basically this game is a love letter to Ace Combat 4 and 5, and by extension somewhat 0.
As of today,
Because of course Ace Combat 4, which was sort of the defining moment of the game's history where it moved to PlayStation 2,
who have been ordered to sorting.
and sort of all the real work, Strange Reel, all this stuff started to be formed, the Ulysses asteroid impact, that all started to get formed, and Mobius 1 of course, sort of still the legend as it were. But that game starts off with pretty much the same sort of thing. Take off, scramble, your base is under attack, scramble, shoot down some bear bombers. We've got some light escorts, fairly straightforward stuff.
This is not a drill.
Right, okay, that's our briefing screen going on. I should have double checked the dates to see where this stacks up in the timeline. I think it's after Ace Combat 6 and by extension X? Right, I'm just going to tweak those volumes a bit. That one's up a bit, that one's down a bit. And if there's any bother, be sure to let us know. Oh, we're not going to be starting off that, although it is a pretty Swedish bird, but we will be starting with default stuff, and for the section of being mage flight, I think we'll stick to the F-16, because I always have a habit of trying to use the canonical aircraft when appropriate. How are the parts looking? Air brakes. Yeah, that looks pretty much the way it should be. Well, actually that increases the engine, doesn't it? So we will ditch that for speed.
Mage Squadron, aircraft preparations complete. Stand by at the front.
So you don't know your basics of Strange Real. The Ossia is the equivalent of the United States of America. Yuktobania would be Russia, Soviet Union. And you've also got other countries where they're more questionable where to fit in. Especially like Russia.
Column Squadron, take off. Link to Skykeeper. Hurry, Mage Squadron.
I've actually made some graphical tweaks to this and not in the PC settings. Digging in the files I found in application data, an INI file where I've been able to increase the draw distance for things like the trees, which was one of the complaints Digital Foundry had with the game on consoles. I've increased that from the default 3 to 4, and it's pretty much eliminated the problem of the scenery fading in.
Carrier. Whoa. Looks like the harbor's taken a lot of damage.
Can't have any more casualties. Time to stop the bullshit. Mage 2, form up with Mage 1. All aircraft, let's do this. Golem Squadron, it's go time.
Roger that.
Golem 4, understood.
You know, it's another Ace Combat tradition that's come back. Oops, I do this.
All unidentified bombers. They don't have many
It's not at all realistic, but I'll take it.
the last attack. Expect the worst and stay sharp. We'll go. Trigger, I'm your wingman. Fly with me now. That's what it means to be in an element. You gotta keep an eye out for enemy bombers.
Okay, hello, Mr. Bear.
Here we go. Looks like bombers have been
I
located.
don't want to overtake you.
It's showtime, Trigger. Let's see if you can handle the spotlight. You're a good pilot.
I know I can shoot him down, but I'm going to be messing around just a little bit.
Spot, so play along.
Ooh, that was a little bit harsh. There we go. Oops, that's wearing a Russian markings, alright. Well.
Enemy bomber confirmed down. Good job, Mage 2. Not bad, Mage 2. Trigger, switch your radar. See if you can locate the enemy.
Oh, I can see them on the radar, no worries. A few details about the cockpit that are good and bad. We can look down more than we used to, and actually if I get the light going in here, actually I think I'm flying into the sun, that's why I'm having a bit of a problem there. Okay, there we go. We have legs,
They're way overhead.
animated for the rudders. The downside is we can't look all the way up. So this view is not as good as it used to be in dogfighting. Used to be it looks straight vertically up, but now it's more sort of about, I'd say, 70 degrees.
I'm in his blind spot. He's mine. Enemy support eliminated. This should make the job easier. Destroy the target.
Splash the fish beds. You gotta love NATO reporting names.
Targeting gun range. Target confirmed down. Looking good, Mage 2. Mage 2, target's in range. Pair of bombers. Trigger, stay calm. You got this. I know the kid's shown some promise, but let's remember, he's still barely gotten his feet wet.
If I'm honest, I don't think Trigger quite has the same ring to it as usually. Blaze didn't really either, but Raspberries did for the whole squadron. But you know, Mobius, Cypher, talisman slash Garuda. Trigger. Sounds like a dog's name.
That's it. It's great when it's simple. Enemy bomber down. Nice going, Mage 2. Not too shabby, Mage 2. You still got a long way to go, kid. I'll give you some pointers back at base if you can make it in one piece.
Hey, we've gotten the named ace to spawn.
Copy that. It's a bomber and an escort. Whoa there, Trigger. Settle down. Mage 2, maintain your element.
There he is, Pyro.
Do not break off. Mage 1, make sure he doesn't do
He's in a
anything
nice,
stupid.
quite nice actually, red
Golem 2, let's maintain element.
MiG-21.
Copy that, Commander. I've got your 6 covered, sir.
Radio. They have a lock on you. Shake 'em.
You can see the red now.
Golem, Mage, 2 new enemy groups. This is HQ. Attention all combat groups. Are there any drones? Verify. Drones? Are you kidding me right now?
Everyone spawned.
This is the kind of shit that really chaps my ass.
Oh my goodness, proper swearing in Strange Reel. That is new. Well, I mean, there's proper swearing in Assault Horizon, but that wasn't in Strange Reel, so it doesn't count.
Target is down. Attaboy, Trigger.
Yes, I got a Google message. The phone is a bit loud. There's something about the camera which, and this is going to sound nitpicky and everything, but there's something about the camera which just feels a bit weird, which is even on this view, when you're rolling and moving around, sort of the head-up display itself sort of shifts around. Which I think has been done to sort of simulate the head moving, but at the same time it sometimes just feels a bit weird. Especially when you try and level off. There's like a disconnect between what the camera's doing and what the aircraft's doing. It's fair enough like the cockpit view, but when it's applied to this as well, it's a bit You can see it there, there's this wobbling going on there. The aircraft was already leveled because of the autopilot, but there was this big left and right wobble that still happened. It's quite easy to do at any time when you do that. Right, aircraft's level. Still, this big left-right wobble. That's just purely visual. Which is easier to tell if you're on like the external view. I'll do the same thing. See, it doesn't happen on that view.
Stay sharp, think fast.
Roger that.
Oops, it's changed target on us. One, two, three, four. And that's your first mission.
Our radar shows no sign of bandits. You're in the clear. Good going, Mage 2. Flight Commander looks like he's got what it takes. Let's slow down. It's just one sortie. Don't try to be a hero. I want you to make it back in one piece, you hear?
Yeah, I gotta side with the boss man on this.
Golem Squadron, this is HQ. Did you confirm any drones? What's the deal with all the drones?
See, this when you've got this view on, you can see what's causing it. If I level off now, you see the head's doing this big bob around the cockpit. But the logic is still kind of in play on this view as well, so it just throws you off.
I am Princess Rosa Cassette Delise of the Kingdom of Erusia. Citizens of Erusia.
Trigger, your call sign is page 2. Verify and read back.
No option to save replays. It was very well presented, these sort of briefing and debriefing screens.
We have confirmed that the aircraft carrier Albatross was sunk. We know the attacking bogies were from Erusia. International Union peacekeeping force bases all over the Yusian continent were attacked in the same way. The damage is severe. Many wars are lost by failing to recover from the opening blows. That means successfully retaliating was very important.
It's a fancy version, but you actually have similar things to this in real life, which they use on,
Have our thanks.
you know, exercise ranges. Yeah, it's only an A rank because we were quite slow. Boop-a-doop-a-doo.
As of 1 p.m. today, the Kingdom of Erusia has declared war on the Osean Federation. As soon as the news broke out, enemy aircraft began bombing Osean territory, causing widespread destruction.
The remains of
Air
the
Defense
Principality of
Force has
Belka.
released a statement saying this violent attack was
So that
carried
map
out
we
by
just had
drones,
on there basically
and that the
showed
drones were
all the
secretly
countries that were
transported
involved
to
in
Osean
Ace
shipping
Combat
containers and
0,
launched remotely.
4 and 5.
Secretary of the Navy has stated that the enemy was
Well, except for Yuktabani, which is off over there on the west, but
all of the nation's aircraft
that doesn't really
carriers,
matter.
including one still under construction,
You can see that
sustained
section on the right that's
severe
black
damage
with
in
like
the attacks.
Belka, the Nordlands,
We have yet to hear back
Sape
from
and
the
Ustio in
department as to the
particular.
fate of
Those were the
Osean
locations for
carriers
Ace Combat 0, which was the prequel
Hold on.
War, the Balkan
I've
War.
just received breaking
And you were
news.
based in
The
Ustio.
International Space Elevator, which is being built in southern Yusia, has been seized by the Erusian army. Reports say former President Harling was touring the site at the time, but his current whereabouts are unknown.
Of course,
Our sources
he
in
was the
government
president
tell us
in
it was
Ace
Harling's
Combat
policies
5.
regarding the
Quite
space elevator
important
that caused
character in that.
economic frictions in the area, and which ultimately led to this war. Located near Erusia, on the continent of Yusia, the space elevator has been under construction for some time now. The Executive Office of the Osean Federation has declared a national state of emergency. They have ordered all its armed forces, including Yusian peacekeepers, to mobilize and make the necessary preparations to launch an immediate counterattack. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is officially at war. Stay tuned for further updates.
Breaking news from ENN. Osea launched an attack on the capital today, striking Farbanti from their aircraft carrier, the Kestrel II.
Farbanti.
After a brutal battle, the Erusian Air Force successfully repelled them. During the air
This is
raid,
where the
Osean
second
Air Force
final
fired
mission of
missiles
Ace
at the
Combat
city
4
and managed
happens.
to shoot down a number of Erusian fighters. Some of the disabled planes then crashed into residential areas.
The world was screwed. 20 years ago, the Earth got slammed by an asteroid.
Here's your
Erusia was on the
backstory on
other side of the
Ulysses.
planet and got hit. Hard. Refugees swarmed the Erusian Republic, the biggest country on the continent, plunging it into chaos. They were desperate and started a war, one they had no hope of winning. That's the war my dad fought and died in. The biggest nations from 2 continents went head to head, and the so-called righteous Oseans struck the deal that ended it. They fancied themselves the only nation that could bring peace and stability to the world.
It's a bit on the nose.
Still suffering from the disaster. That's how a space elevator, stretching way up into the sky, ended up being built in Yusia.
It's not exactly true though if they're talking about the
President Harling said he did it out of compassion for his fellow humans.
war
But to the folks in Erusia,
from Ace
it
Combat
looked like
4
Osean
because the
was being
ISAF was on the
taken over.
ropes.
Erusia went from being a republic back to being a kingdom. When they started this new war, they managed to get the drop on everyone. The second the declaration hit the news, Erusian forces took control of the space elevator without spilling a single drop of blood. President Harling was touring the elevator when it happened and disappeared. Then, while that was going on, the Erusian ships that were docked all around Osea released a swarm of drone fighters they had hidden on board in containers. No one thought they were capable of doing what they did that day. With pinpoint accuracy, they managed to take out everything that was military, and not a single civilian was hurt in the process. Osea pissed lots of people off with their huge military presence around the world. Erusia didn't have the same reach, but they could hit their targets faster and cleaner. And when all this was going down, I just so happened to be in my flying drag racer. In case you were wondering, yeah, I survived.
No, you are in fact a ghost.
Then, got arrested for breaking wartime aviation laws or some crap. The world went from being at peace to being at war, all in the blink of an eye.
Still get a bit confused by the way those subtitles pop up without clarifying who's talking. This is actually like the TV in the background.
I was tried, found guilty, and stuffed into a cargo ship. For company, I had some court-martialed soldiers. And remember those mothballed planes I told you about before? They were loaded on the ship too. We headed off down south for several days, and then swung east. That's how I got here. I was thousands of kilometers from Erusia, on the opposite side of the Yuzian continent. For a port, it was dull as hell. It had 3 rusty patrol boats, and the base? The fences were topped with razor wire, the tower had a searchlight and machine guns, and a truck with a gun turret was parked in front of the gate. Its gun was aimed at the yard. This was a prison. This place looked like a full-on base, but half the tanker trucks were just big balloons, and the runways weren't even paved, just painted on the dirt. The whole place was just one big fat lie. The only reason I was here is because they knew I'd restored a supersonic plane. They wanted me to make something out of the mothballed planes they brought, that they could park on the fake runway. Can you believe that shit?
So ghetto.
They found out and set the dogs on me.
Probably sounds silly and stuff, but that is, I mean, I don't think it's a tactic that's been used in any recent wars, but it was certainly used, I think it might have been used as recently as the Falklands War. You know, making fake planes at the airport as decoys.
Erusia has made a declaration to the Ocean Federation and all countries on the Yuzian continent stationing the IUN peacekeeping force that we are now at war.
Thing is, things like satellite photo resolution now is so high that you can generally probably tell if they're fake or not.
Forces aligned with Erusia are currently appearing throughout Yusia. The combination of these forces has overwhelmed the majority of the continent, and they are now encroaching on us in the east. Additionally, the multinational space elevator has been seized by the Erusian military. After the previous war, the space elevator became both a symbol of peace and a valuable asset in the fight against growing energy concerns. Whoever has control of it will have enormous influence over the entire continent. We cannot turn a blind eye to this critical situation.
I just found it a bit funny how Ace Combat 5 paid very, very little attention to Ulysses.
The elevator as an advanced element.
I mean, it was such a big deal in Ace Combat 4, and fairly important to Ace Combat 6. It was in the background, but it was the cause for the war of Ace Combat 6.
You are to destroy them. They should not pose much of a threat. However, there is a high likelihood that the attack will draw more enemy air support. If that happens, fight them off swiftly and establish air superiority.
So this is very much also basically a remake of the second mission from Ace Combat 4. So first mission, second mission, very similar to Ace Combat 4. Shouldn't be a roof now. We'll stick with the F-16, even though it's not great at ground attack. I could go with the bombs, but I'm actually going to stick to air-to-air missiles. Yep.
Mage squadron, sortie, ASAP.
It's the first mission where the tweak I made to the draw distance kicks in, because you can see even those hills right in the background are fully treed, even them ones right in that corner. Playing this by default, you'll actually see the trees sort of fading in.
But any aircraft shot down could land in civilian territory.
Hey look, overhead wires. Ooh, that was not smooth, that was terrible. They were actually easier to see on a PlayStation because the wires were great big thick things. We've got a power substation just like Ace Combat 4. Oops. Went behind a building.
Target destroyed. 3 to go. Continue to engage. Enemy interceptors inbound. Prepare to engage in 30 seconds. We'll go. Here they come. Take them down. Okay, recruits. Pay attention to who's on what side. The newest IFF is connected to our entire force via satellites. It's reliable, so trust your radars. 2 targets remaining. Radar was just about to go online. Push the plan forward too fast.
Don't know what the chances are of those hitting. 1 out of 2 is not bad. Ooh, that was close. Alright. So, gimmick Ace Combat 7, the clouds, which are volumetric and actually affect things like your missiles. And you will ice up as well, which will affect your maneuverability if you stay in the clouds for a while.
Bandit is in my sights. Do we really have interceptors? They're still pounding us. H2, this launch. Great. So you want us to take down the enemy without damaging any public facilities? That's gonna be a circus. Box 2.
Oh, that is a MiG-21.
Alright, clean up that last radar vehicle. There's nothing in your way now.
Right, is that everything over back there? Yep, it is.
That was the last radar vehicle. Great work. Oh, to see the Erusian space now. Continue with the mission. Crush as many as you can. Move the enemy aircraft away from the base.
Enemy transports attacking.
You're not linked to the radar vehicle. Launch manually. Redo the setup. Here's some feedback
Should be careful when I blow up that one. Because, in fact, I'll use a longer range missile. No! God damn it, ran out of time. I think that plane's going to despawn now.
What happened? Status report. Multiple bogies on
Yep,
radar.
it's despawned, but the named ace has popped up.
Being launched.
There he is, Jester,
You're cleared to engage. They're probably hostile.
who is in a yellow and blue MiG-29, which is modelled on the ones which crashed at the... Is it the Fairford or Farnborough Air Show? I think it was the Farnborough Air Show. A pair of MiG-29s basically sliced through each other. And the famous thing I remember about that story afterwards is both pilots ejected, and afterwards the two Russian pilots, one of them went up to the first one, punched him straight in the face for messing up the manoeuvres.
Doesn't matter. He's saying the war can change in an instant. Get over it. Yeah, I just wish they'd give us a bit more warning. Bandits are in the clouds.
Yeah, that was a bit optimistic. What was I doing? That's got no chance.
Column 3, Fox 2. Enemy UAV confirmed destroyed.
Every time I hear them say the Gollum Khan sign, I keep thinking it's Garm, which is Ace Combat Zero. Which itself is a mistranslation, since Bob's here, because I believe it is Nordic. The demon dog, Garm. Let's see, we're going to ice up soon, hanging out in the clouds. Music gets nice and muffled too. See what I mean about the new virtual cockpit head limitations, how it sort of messes up with the tracking. That's not good.
H2, they have a lock on you. Where'd he go?
One to go. Let's get through this without any casualties. Fox 3.
I'm ram away.
Nice kill, Trigger. Enemy aircraft confirmed down.
Oh, look at that wobbling.
The skies are clear. Nice work, everyone. Mission complete. RTB. No casualties.
My legs.
We couldn't have done any better. Returning to base.
I don't know. Maybe the bandits we took down caused civilian casualties.
No point arguing. That's how war is these days.
Let's just chill out in these clouds for a bit.
The guys in
Get
charge
ourselves
take care of the
properly
rest.
iced up. Ah, Fade to Black. Foiled!
You've given us air superiority by destroying their radar. The first barrier keeping us from retaking the space elevator is gone. Now is the time to group up and begin the counteroffensive. Let us reclaim what is ours.
That was a short debriefing. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, and as I've seen the question came out on Discord, not really any Hitman plans anymore now that the last mission's been finished. I would just be sort of like replaying them. I mean, I suppose there is the new Winter Festival thing that's still there that I haven't played yet. I might look into that. Mission 3. So I may be able to point out a bit of a potential storytelling flaw here.
Surprise attacks carried out after the declaration of war saw the peacekeeping forces of various countries, including Osea, suffer major damage. The ships moored around the space elevator and near Gandar Bay have been hit particularly hard. Numerous ships have been sunk and abandoned. Fortunately,
sorry for that plastic
carrier
bottle pop.
Kestrel 2 was at sea, so it was
Now,
spared.
Kestrel 2, there's an Ace Combat 5 reference.
Kestrel 2 is now preparing to launch another attack against Erusia's capital, Farbanti.
So actually, a couple of storytelling issues here.
Gandar Bay safely. However, it lost all its aircraft, so it's sailing empty. Today, the International Union Peacekeeping Force reclaims its bid to the space elevator. The Fort Gray's Island Air Base Squadron will rendezvous with the carrier Vulture for a joint mission. The first objective will be to seize air superiority in Schoppenberg in order to secure a route for the support squadrons. The enemy maintains air superiority over Schoppenberg, so expect heavy resistance from enemy aircraft. There's more, so listen carefully. Right from the start of the war, the enemy has been deploying drones. They're using a new advanced type of drone. The unmanned airborne aircraft carrier, the Arsenalbird, carries this new drone, MQ-101. The Osean Army headed up the development...
You see, here's the problem. This is how the Arsenal Bird is introduced, with a picture and a briefing,
However, it's been reported that the carriers may have fallen into the hands of the Erusian forces.
which is kind of sad.
If that's true, it could be a significant obstacle for us. We need to regain control of the space elevator ASAP. Good luck out there.
Because if you think about how these sort of like flying fortresses and stuff are usually introduced in an Ace Comic here and stuff, it'll happen actually during the mission as a surprise. Especially, you know, it happens in Ace Combat 6, the very first mission, where, you know, you're defending your home city, the capital, it's all going well, and then suddenly the Igaion shows up, fires a load of burst missiles, or actually they weren't called that, were they? Nimbus missiles, along with the Strigan squadron, and that was the big shock. This massive fortress which fires off all these destructive missiles, and you're forced to run away. Here, the Arsenal Bird is just introduced with a picture and a briefing, so it's not really such a big deal if it shows up during the mission, which, spoilers, it does. Also, we got the Kestrel 2 mentioned there, which seems like a nice tribute to Ace Combat 5, but the debriefing may debunk that a bit.
Mage Squadron, aircraft preparations complete.
Do 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 do.
Refueling initiated. Maintain
Refueling. No replays on the refueling or landing for that map. Bloody hell, that was bright.
Trigger, maintain your current approach.
Actually, I do want to fly pretty much straight here because it's a boom.
Excellent work, Trigger.
Ka-tunk. A boom instead of a drogue.
Mage Squadron, this is the situation. Gollum and the other base's squadrons already joined forces and are engaged. You guys will arrive right in the middle of the action. Mage Squadron, eliminate all
do some
bandits
cloud
in the current
hopping.
airspace. We have the upper hand, but that doesn't mean we can ease up.
It's quite nasty clouds as well.
Mage 1, Wilco.
I like how the music
Mage 1 to
muffles.
Gollum 1, thank your lucky stars. Looking Looking good, Mage Squadron. Keep up that pressure. Trigger time to show the other guys that we get wet wild and do dirty, dirty things. Once you hit one of them, stick to him like glue. Don't let him out of your sights, even in the clouds. And so, your first hunting season begins. Mage 2, bandit down. Excellent work. Mage 2. If you can't evade a missile, use chaff and flares. Your fingers should still move, even if you're in a 9G turn. 4 remaining.
Phantom. Well, Phantom 2 technically, but you know.
They got me. 3 remaining.
That's pretty with the clouds. Sorry, the sun shining through the clouds, the edges of it. These are good clouds. That's a steep zoom climb up to this guy.
Nice kill. 1 remaining. Keep your eyes open in those clouds. Looks like they weren't ready for a fight.
Nope.
In gun range. Don't eyes up in there.
It'll be fine.
Our radar shows no sign of bandits. You're in the clear.
Kinda wonder how you saw.
I haven't even broken a sweat. Missile incoming! Evade! Break! Break! Wait, what the hell?
Caution! Missile!
Caution! A large aircraft is approaching. All aircraft, stay alert.
Ah, here it comes, you see? That reveal's just a bit less impressive, having been told in the briefing it might be around. Get a very Independence Day vibe.
Is utilizing the arsenal bird.
Even sounds similar.
They had that thing combat ready this whole time.
Enemy has a radar lock. Break! Now!
We're just waiting for mission command. We'll live through this, Trigger. These guys are definitely a step above the last drones. These guys will go down easy. All aircraft, no change in game plan.
Ooh, that is a very excitable missile.
The arsenal bird. Golem Squadron, take out Big Baby Huey.
Look at that light from the arsenal bird. What's going on here?
We got a UAV headed right for you.
Big Baby Huey. I just think of DuckTales.
All 3, missile, evade!
Enemy on my six. Still towards me.
Thanks for the help. Glad you're here. Damn. Skeleton 1 lost. Skeleton 2, take over command.
Gargoyle Squadron, this is Gargoyle 1. Skeleton Squadron needs help. Where are we supposed to go?
Status? Verifying the situation. Enemy too fast, I can't keep up.
We'll pass that with a shot before the enemy wears down.
Golem 2, missile, evade!
Evading!
This is Golem 3, Golem 2's hit! Status report.
Whoop.
Ship Golem 2, do you copy?
This is Golem 2. Instruments still appear to be functioning okay.
Skeleton 3's lost. What's the plan? Where's that report? Continue to maintain air
Ooh,
superiority.
that was a bad turn. I turned presenting my rear end to it.
Maintain air superiority.
Bad flying.
What the hell? Caution. All aircraft, stay alert. Get out of there. Breaking. Controls are out. I'm breaking off. Skeleton 2 lost. Skeleton Squadron is down. We've had too
That's
many
quite
losses.
easy to screw that guy.
All squadrons, command has ordered a complete withdrawal.
Oh, there we go. He's got his force field up. Very, very Independence Day.
Column and Mage Squadron, give our allies some time to escape. We'll go, but Golem 2's hit. Gotta send her back. Let's get dirty, Trigger. Shoot down those UAVs. Don't let them touch any friendlies. Golem 2, head back to base. Gargoyle 1, escort Golem 2.
Continuing the mission. Still got my wings. Trigger doesn't need to fill in for me. I'm back and I...
You won't make any difference up here. Get back to base and cool your head.
Copy that. Returning home.
Yeah, that was a bit optimistic.
That's it, Trigger. They're machines. Don't show them any mercy. Fox 2. Mage Squadron, you're going toe-to-toe with the UAVs.
Wait, hang on.
Good work.
Where's these guys?
Behind one.
Very bad that, by the way. Pushing, you know, down a dive.
Retreating aircraft. Leave the AO. Allies will hold off pursuit.
Really what you should do is roll upside down and pull back.
Come back safe.
Use your basic airmanship, try to avoid negative Gs.
That's it, baby. Come to Poppy. I'm in his blind spot. He's mine. Enemy's locked. Yowza. More UAVs spotted. Gargoyle Squadron, they might cut off your retreat. My status is fine. Affirmative. This is Gargoyle 1. Leading Operation Airspace with Golem 2. Retreating aircrafts. Prepare for combat. It's a bogey. Gargoyle 1, Golem 2, engage now. Attack. One bandage. SU-30.
Gargoyle 1. Caution! Missile! Skykeeper. Gargoyle 1 lost.
What the hell? Golem 2, status report.
It's all going wrong. Well, what the hell was that? A big flash of lightning outside.
Talk to me.
I'm against an SU-30. Orange wingtips. I can't shake it off. It's matching me move for move.
Yes, it was. There's the thunder.
Fighting and run.
I'm dead. I don't get it. Why isn't it opening fire? I'm scared. Scared.
This is not good. Brody, break off. Mage 2, UAV down. Keep it up, buddy. Fourth-grade aircraft. Don't think, focus. Get those UAVs off of France. Targeted range of guns. Locked. Target was not struck.
Ooh. Oh, too close for the missile, damn it.
Trass is out.
Oh man, camera, just look at it instead of swinging around to my wingtips.
The longer it takes, the worse our odds of getting out of here are. Machines don't get tired. Target lock. Firing. An ally's hit. Golem and Mage, move in to provide support. Let's move.
That's M2.
Hell of a good job, Mage 2. We want as many guys out here as possible.
I'm grateful you're around.
Golem 2, what's your status? Status report.
He's a predator. The wing can eat.
Golem 2, get a hold of yourself. Golem 2, get away from the enemy.
Mage 2, support!
Missile.
Somebody!
Missile.
Oh, she's gone.
Column 2, lost. Shit. Skykeeper, where's the one that got Brony? Afraid he's long gone by now.
And she's gone, not shot down, rescuing. Shot down, dead.
I'm tied up now. Trigger, can you help him?
Already done.
All UAVs have been splashed. I said what I had to say. About what? Not a girl who'd retreat. Just not in her DNA. That was the right decision at the time. No, I should have never let a fledgling like her out of my reach to begin with. Golem Squadron, Maid Squadron, withdraw.
Hey, landing. So landing is a bit weird in this game. There's definitely some sort of automatic flight assistance going on behind the scenes of it. In terms of trying to get your speed down. You see, I'm holding brake. But if I go into certain parameters, the speed will just start shooting up. This should be a pretty good approach, though. There, actually, can you see right now? I'm holding the brake down and the nose is level, but the speed is slowly going up for no discernible reason.
1 mile to runway.
I'm actually not... All I'm doing right now is... I'm hands off, I'm just holding the brake. I can't slow down anymore, but the speed's going up, the nose is coming down. There's some sort of flight assistance going on that actually just is terrible.
You're past the guidance limit. Make a visual landing.
You gotta really go out of your way and get yourself really slow and get the nose up early on to try and make a nice looking landing. Not that it matters so much anyway, because there's no replays. The replay is just of the actual mission here, and it ends at the mission. So Ace Comic Games would usually do a separate replay just for the area refueling, just for the landing, but not in this one. Hopefully that'll change. I've made the suggestion to Project Aces
The aircraft carrier Kestrel 2
because I like the pretty things.
Carrier-borne aircraft mistakenly bombed urban areas, and this has turned public opinion in neutral countries against us.
So I mentioned the Kestrel 2.
Our own forces also suffered heavy losses. If it weren't for a few extraordinary fighters, many of us wouldn't have made it home. The situation is grim. We have precious little time, however. We have to get to the space elevator.
Alright, that's the end of that debriefing. Yeah, so the previous mission's briefing, that mission's briefing rather, told us there was a Kestrel 2, which is an Ace Combat 5 reference, yada yada yada. Just keep it in mind.
Here he comes.
It's called professional pride, Goldie.
Mihai's looking worse.
And that is an intentionally wobbly landing, it will be explained. Oh,
Sisters, 15 and 10.
yeah, the 15 and 10-year-old girls.
Combat, so we could use his physiological data to improve the drones. Had always taken a toll on Mihai's body. But today, he was really showing his age. The drones we based on his data were being taken down at a faster rate now, compared to when the war began. When Mihai found that out, he insisted on flying to the front lines to see it for himself. Sometimes he could be so stubborn.
His age wasn't the only thing affecting his health. Over the years, flying at high altitudes for prolonged stretches of time had ravaged and poisoned his
Bob.
body. But he was a man of grit. Today, after 28 years, he saw combat again. If his flight suit still wasn't good enough to protect him, I can't imagine how many G's he hit today during the battle. As a pilot, he exceeds all our expectations. It's going to take a bit more tweaking before our drones can match his skill.
So there's a sort of long history with this drones data stuff.
How penal is this penal unit, you ask?
As a note, it should have been the 404th Air Base.
If you took the stink of all the corruption in the world, then corralled it all in one place, that would give you a pretty good idea of what the air smells like around here. We got all kinds of critters, too. Everything from flea-ridden guards, rabid dogs, and a mechanic doing stretch for life. I can't forget the rats. Yeah, we got those. And some pilots who got their wings clipped, too. One's a great pilot, but a lousy thief. One's a gambler with no luck. And one's an anarchist with no balls. Their job here was to rev the engines on the fake runways. The idea was for Erusia's spy satellite to pick up the heat sig. Even though there weren't any real fighters here, it looked like it on their infrared. I bet you're wondering, if Erusia lost the war, how come they still have a spy satellite? Because someone over there was smart enough to train a bunch of computer nerds to hack into half of Osia's satellites. That's how come. Every now and again, I'd try to bust out. And every single time, those damn dogs would drag me right back. When I was in my cell, I'd hear this voice coming from the
Very
guards
well
room.
behaved and well trained dogs
The
then.
Erusian princess rallying her people on the Erusian national broadcast. All us prisoners had become big fans of hers. You want to hear something funny? The guards were big fans too. I swear to God, every time she was on the air, they'd turn up the volume on the radio and sit there listening. I could see how someone like her could win the hearts and minds of soldiers and workers alike. When the princess said something, you could tell she meant every word. Lately, she'd been having more fun with her speeches, and that made her seem even more charming.
And just recall, this is not their princess, this is the princess from the country they are at war with.
Whenever she'd point out stuff that was wrong with Osia, the prisoners in here went nuts. Hell, if anyone knew how messed up Osia was, it was the prisoners. They'd shout, "Burn Osia down." No way am I just gonna sit here and rot away in this hellhole. Dark blue. Instead of building fake-ass planes to trick Erusia, I'm gonna build one that'll really take off. You can count on that.
This is based on an Ace Combat 5 mission now. With full of references.
As proved by the failure of our previous strategy, the Arsenal birds have bolstered the enemy's anti-air network. This will be difficult to overcome. However, we still need to get swiftly to the space elevator no matter what it takes. Someone there is counting on us. The hero of the Circum-Pacific War and the man who spearheaded the construction of the space elevator.
That was it. Ace Combat 4 was the Continental War, Ace Combat 5 was the Circum-Pacific War.
He's been classified as missing since the elevator was taken over by the Erusian forces. However, according to the latest intel, a military officer accompanying Mr. Harling hid him inside the facility. Both are waiting for a chance to escape. Enemy anti-air radar network has been set up around the space elevator.
They did a really good job of covering up the raspberries.
We will send a single aircraft through the network and send in a rescue team soon after.
But, you know, that was the possibly the Japanese name as well, but the American name for Ace Combat 5 was the Unsung War, which was the final mission, so...
suggests their network is weakest along the southeastern coast of Selatakura. So we can elude the enemy's observation.
It was actually the same in Ace Combat 0.
Flying through the clouds will enable us to stay hidden from their radar. If you happen to be detected by their radar, we will be forced to abort the mission. The lone pilot who will head up this strategy is you, Trigger. After you bust through, secure the rescue craft's landing zone by taking out the anti-air weapons. Gollum and others will arrive shortly for support. Provide escort for Mr. Harling's craft after rendezvous. Good luck out there, everyone.
Alright, rescue present. So yeah, I talked about there being a history of the drones. So it establishes in this game that pilot Michal is what these drones are based on. They basically take brain scans of him in combat and simulators and sort of build an AI based around his combat performance. The origins for these drones, which is very much a Belka thing, goes back to Ace Combat Zero and the final battle there between the player character Cypher and his former wingman Pixie, Solo Wing Pixie. And the combat data from that battle became the basis for this AI, and would also be the basis for the ZOE drone, the Falcon. Well, the ZOE was the AI that was then put into the Falcon, to be more specific. But yeah, so after that point, that AI has come into the hands of Erusia through Belkan scientists, and now that data is being further augmented with this pilot. So the AI is basically being put together from the best pilots ever, and in my personal opinion, Ace Combat 2, the ZOE AI also was learning a lot from Phoenix, who was a player character in that game, and possibly even was also Cypher. That's debatable, because they were both mercenaries. The timelines kind of check out, that sort of thing. And, you know, the name Phoenix does suggest a rebirth. Cypher was the demon lord of the Round Table, so rebirth as Phoenix, kind of checks out. That's just personal, you know, speculation. That's nothing in canon says that's the case. Okay. I'm still going to stick with the Falcon for now. I'm not going to look at the aircraft tree. This will be our final Falcon mission, though.
Aircraft preparations complete. Sortie ASAP.
Doop 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 doop.
Entering operation area. Imposing radio silence.
So
We'll
yeah,
radio you, but you are not permitted to make contact.
this mission kind of references two from Ace Combat 5. The first one would be, funny enough, called Mother Goose 1. Remember that? Oh no, it wasn't called that, was it?
Okay, you're heading up the Harling rescue mission. The success of this mission depends on you.
I can't actually remember what it was called. Basically, it's one where you've got to guide President Harling's plane, which is called Mother Goose 1, through a radar field like this. But then there's a later mission called, was it Solitaire? Which was you flying again, dodging around radars. God, that's hard to see. The reason I'm staying this low, I could go a lot higher, but if you want the named Ace to spawn, you've got to play through this first section at very low level. Probably not this low, but, you know. Anyway, there's the space elevator in the distance.
Trigger, you're a third of the way to the rendezvous point. Good job, but stay focused.
Hello, city. I wish there was a tornado for this bit. But no tornado in this game, as of yet. We'll see what shows up in DLC.
change. RTD, going home.
Trigger, you got 2 directions you can take up here. Just go with your gut. Don't worry, we're watching over you.
I'm going to take the shortcut. More clouds.
Making good progress, Trigger. You're currently halfway to your rendezvous point. Look, I'm not gonna lie. It's just gonna
Get
be you
the
and your radar out
close
there.
radar in,
Just
because you can
know
see that's
we got a
quite
bunch of people
tight.
pulling for you. And I'm one of them.
Don't want to get too high though.
You're 3/4 of the way. Been a long fight, but you're nearly home. Harling is still the president in my eyes. He ended the war, built a space elevator, and launched a spaceship from it.
Didn't end the war. It was bloody blazing the raspberries.
A humble hero. I'll do my best to save him. Lend me a hand, Trigger.
Yeah, I'm not in a cloud. I'm not in a cloud. Am I just flying too low? Nope. Alright, take it through this narrow gap.
Hang in there.
That's good. Full speed on through.
Trigger, the first stage of the mission is clear. Don't celebrate yet. The real fight's about to get started. Radio silence is now lifted. The auxiliary craft will be arriving shortly. Destroy the anti-air around the space elevator. We're securing Sea Goblin's landing zone.
Right, Sea Goblin, that's also an Ace Combat 5 reference. That was the name of the helicopter on the Kestrel. The rescue helicopter. It rescued President Harling. It also rescued Kai Nagase when she was shot down. So, you know, that's blatant referencing.
Missile launched. Locked. Mage 2, target destroyed. Mage 2, target down.
Missile. 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 Missile.
Trigger, sorry about the wait. Cavalry's here. Golem Squadron. Trigger jumped through the fire. Now it's our turn. Understood.
Whoa, that's a lot of snow coming down right now after the brief bit of thunder.
Half of the SAM sites are down. Half of the anti-air guns down.
I'm taking this kind of way more slowly than I really should be.
Hostile anti-air before that.
This is Sea Goblin. We arrived. Do we have a clear LZ?
Woohoo!
Mission still in progress. Stand by. All anti-air guns destroyed. All SAM sites down. The landing zone is secure. Sea Goblin, you are clear to land.
Now I could charge towards the beach, but there isn't really a point because a cutscene will play, and after it our position will be reset, so...
Multiple bandits over Selatapura Harbor. They're container-launched UAVs.
Duh, you see what I mean?
Rescue craft tag on. Initiate.
Bang.
Rescue craft on the ground is defenseless. Golem and Mage, destroy all hostiles.
By the looks of it, I must have gone too high during the ingress because the
Gargoyle will stand by.
the named Ace F-15 hasn't spawned. It would normally be all the way over there in the background.
Heading over to the ex-president's location now.
Oh well.
Going for the container!
Mage 2, missile away.
Locked. It's chow time.
And here's the famous stadium people have been doing all kinds of like stunts in.
This one's mine. Break. Break.
Target is down. Eliminate all enemy UAVs. Don't let up.
Enemy flanked. Ambush! Fire from the far shore! They're targeting us! Get behind the chopper!
UAVs approaching the space elevator. Stop them.
That's not gonna hit because the crane's in the way.
Sierra 2, hold position!
probably not going to hit, but whatever.
Sea Goblin, all survivors, respond. Is Mr. Harling alive? They got the chopper and Sierra too! That was so barbaric! This is Golem 3. Imagine only 6. They can't get away! That's about half. Mop up the rest.
I'm actually pretty disappointed to learn that the PlayStation exclusive VR missions are actually a story-related prequel, and you actually play as Mobius 1. It would be nice if they would at least be playable without VR.
Sir, we feel the same way. We'll figure something out. 3 remaining.
Or I wouldn't have minded if they'd put in VR compatible versions of the regular missions rather than some exclusive ones. It's funny though, because Mobius 1 obviously stars Ace Combat 4. The arcade mode of Ace Combat 5 is Mobius 1 in a new story campaign. And now the VR mission's also Mobius 1, so you can tell who the favourite Ace at Project Aces is, but I suppose that's no surprise because, you know, the team was basically formed from Ace Combat 4. It's a very important game. So there is a lot of reverence for Yellow 13 as well, who's the sort of main antagonist. He's not he's not an evil antagonist, you're not a traditional antagonist, because most of the story is actually based around getting to know who Yellow 13 is or was, how he lived. And then the game ends with you shooting him down, which this game's actually kind of mimicking as well, because we're seeing Mihal's story as well.
All UAVs have been splashed. All aircraft. Former President Harling's transport is ready to take off. Mother Goose 1, take off.
Yeah, Mother Goose 1. That's the name of President Harling's plane when we meet him in Ace Combat 5, so...
Let's wait till we're home safe.
Sea Goblin, Mother Goose 1, it's not subtle.
Squadron, Mother Goose 1 is heading south. Provide support. 5 minutes remaining.
That's a lot of drones!
Bearing 220. Sighting confirmed as MQ-101, forerunner for Arsenal Bird. The big bird is coming, huh? Mage, protect Mother Goose 1. Shoot down any UAVs. Golem, intercept the UAVs.
I keep hearing it as Garm.
That last battle taught me a lot about those a-holes. Golem 2, don't stray off on me. Always maintain element. Vuko, forming up.
I'm gonna slide in behind him.
Locked.
Radar lock acquired. Bandit has a lock on me. Whoa, again, Trigger? Can't let you have all the glory.
Roger. Sending UAVs to the transport. Orders are to fire warnings. Yes, sir. He's an old-timer. Has no clue how UAVs are used. Mother Goose 1, UAV on your tail. Take evasive action.
Oh,
I hear you. But this isn't exactly a point.
Understood. An Arsenal Bird is on its way. Strategic AI chose liberty over justice. Courses have already changed.
Bandit evaded the attack. I got him. He's mine.
hey. Just snipe them a bit. Which, it's not really sniping when you're using those missiles, it is with SARMs.
On here. Want to leave the airspace. Keep your fingers crossed.
Gargoyle, it's time.
Gargoyle 3 to Babel. Babel, roger.
Get your Top Gun music playing for the F-14s. Right, so that might seem like it was a super successful attack that took out loads of drones. No.
What the hell was that? Conway did the job. I figured, but why weren't we informed? The IUN can't coordinate between branches as usual. It didn't connect. Gargoyle Squadron, report.
Yep, so to make that clear, they were actually going for the tower, the space elevator, and the drones were actually sacrificing themselves to block the missiles.
Mother Goose 1 hit. Mother Goose 1 has been hit. Colonel Johnson, respond. Mage Squadron, assess the situation.
This is Mage 1. I have Mother Goose 1 in my sight. The cabin's fine, but the cockpit's not looking so good.
Colonel Johnson.
Oh, you are a little bugger.
Just send help this way. I'm sorry. Get Mr. Harley.
Straight up your tailpipe.
Mother Goose 1, respond. Mother Goose 1.
Skykeeper, should we continue providing cover for Mother Goose 1?
Of course. Careful of ice formation in the clouds.
I'll be fine. Oh, this is taking us into a hell of a dive.
Mother Goose 1 is turning. What's going on? They're heading to the space elevator.
It's flying at a steady altitude. Who's in control?
Okay, now the ice might be start becoming a problem.
Mother Goose 1, respond.
Yeah, I'm kind of frozen here.
Mr.
Which is why I've gotten a bit more sluggish.
We can't protect our objective if it sticks around here. Now's not the time to freak out, fellas. We've still got a job to do, so let's do it. Keep your mind focused.
Mr. Harling, we are not giving up on you. The UAVs are approaching Mother Goose 1.
Let's go, Trigger.
Take him down now, Mage Squadron. 1 minute remaining. Mage 2 locked. Mother Goose 1, turn 180 degrees and exit combat airspace. Mother Goose 1, Mr. Harlan, are you piloting that plane? The UAVs are continuing their attack.
That was a blind shot, but... Alright, I've got to save the president before time runs out. Well, I say save, but...
Mage, destroy those UAVs.
Get ready for the cutscene.
Oh my god, Mother Goose 1 has been shot down. Where'd the missile come from?
Mage 2 fired that.
It was OG. A friendly missile hit him. Verifying the situation. Stop speculating.
Friendly fire. I saw it.
Mother Goose 1 exploded in air. No one could have survived.
Looks like it tried to protect the elevator. The Rusian bastards, they just killed a hero.
Mage 1. It's a Trigger. Trigger was the closest. UAVs were crawling all over our objective. I told you to keep a goddamn eye in the hatchway. It must have been a mistake.
Arsenal bird is entering. All aircraft withdraw immediately. Trigger, you can't fly for a while. You understand?
Aircraft moving in a bit of a strange way there, but...
The operation to rescue former President Harling has failed. Sadly, there is no hope he survived. Trigger, you are suspected of assassinating the former president. There will be an inquiry. There will most probably be a court-martial.
Yay for me! So, I killed the president. Okay, random, but I'll definitely take that one. Oh, I get it for the drones. Clever. God, an aircraft haven't even come close to unlocking. Be ending this game soon for now, I think.
here at the prison. The enemy fell for our decoy base. With all the fake planes and trucks we had out, we must have looked to them like the Ocean Air Force was about to go on the attack. Day after day after day after day, they bombed us. Osea didn't give a damn. We weren't soldiers to them, so go ahead. Bomb us. In their eyes, we were expendable. Worth less than the fake planes in the bunkers. No biggie. While I made fake planes, they had me put together some working ones. Then, some genius at HQ decided we should send it up, so the base looked legit. Thankfully, we had people to crew them. It didn't matter what we were locked up here for anymore. Top brass needed pilots, and criminals were all they had. A crook, a gambler, an anarchist. Just your typical lowlifes. They threw each one of them in a cockpit and sent them up to intercept the enemy's planes. But in the end, it was all just for show. So, up they went, day after day after day. Today they tossed someone new into the mix. Wonder what he did to get sent here. My dad died flying for the Ocean Air Force. When your allies are surrounded, one of the most dangerous missions is giving them cover to retreat. Whoever signed up for that was a real hero. But even more dangerous than that was being the one who had to cover the rear guard's retreat. That was my dad's job, and one time, he called it off. Said it was too late for him. Said anyone else would have done the same. I found that out from a war buddy of his when he came to tell me how my dad died. The next time a retreat happened, my dad volunteered to be in the rear guard. Dumbass. He died all right. No one came to help. The news nearly broke me. Of all the ways to get killed, that's gotta be the most pathetic one ever. Am I right? There's a rumor going around about another inmate. A guy they brought here a little while ago. Get this. Talk in the cell block says he was sent here because he killed Harling.
Hello, that's me.
During the last war, remember? He's the one that sent my dad on that suicide mission. He's the reason I had to go live with my grandpa, and why me and Gramps started building a supersonic jet. He's the reason I ended up here. Maybe I should give that guy a thank you note for killing him.
Ah, come on.
God, I hate the smell of this place. It's all fake and lies and bullshit. It reeks.
It should be 404.
Alright guys, I'll let you in on some juicy info. The new guy was found guilty by the International Union Peacekeeping Forces court-martial.
So RUPF.
He is the murderer of Harling in the flesh. His tag name's Trigger. Now, as of today, he may be attached to the Ocean Air Force Base 444th Squadron. But that is just some symbolic bullshit. It doesn't really matter if he's Harling's murderer or not. Every last one of you has been incarcerated for one reason or another. You cons have an obligation to atone for your crimes. A few of you in the penal unit know how to fly, and HQ needs to plug the deficit in our Air Force. So they proposed sending you guys on a reconnaissance mission to the Waiapolo Mountains. But that idea was flat out rejected. Nope, you'll be atoning for your crimes right here at this base. This base is a decoy designed to draw enemy fire. And as members of this base, you'll be taking hits from the enemy. This will allow our forces to safely prepare a counterattack.
Incoming!
Switch off that alarm. It's just the usual. I thought Zapland was supposed to be an isolated area. Okay, I'm gonna need a few aircraft to scramble.
Better than solitary. Enemy aircraft detected over the dummy runway.
We just need to make it look like we can put up a fight. Some of those piles of junk can at least take off. Let's get the guiltiest cons in the sky first. We'll start with Harling's murderer.
Woo!
We don't expect you to down any bombers. But what we do want is to make them think that we've got an active base here.
I wonder what's an appropriate aircraft for a trigger at this point. Let's just check the aircraft tree now. Oh yeah, because I played one multiplayer match. Alright, so these two are unlocked in the mission. These are really low quality aircraft. MiG-21 and F-104. But, as a prisoner, you wouldn't expect to be flying anything good either. That's the conundrum. So one of them is already using an Su-33, so we don't want two of them, because that's just not how things go. Someone's got an Hornet, so that's a nope. The F-15 is available, but I can't help but feel like it might be a bit too early for that. Like, I should prove myself before that upgrade. So I guess for at least the first mission, either the MiG or the Starfighter. I'll go with the Starfighter. It's different. Or actually, that would also be quite appropriate, a Phantom. But it's a two-seater, that's the downside there. Alright, what parts have I got? Put that on, put that on. Yeah. Yep, that's my basic load. Oh, hang on. Nope, not that. That. No point putting a laser on. Or a laser upgrade when it doesn't have a laser.
It's time to get busy, convicts. Proceed with your mission now.
Follow orders, Trigger. Taxi to the runway now. Check your altimeter and wait in front of the runway.
Control, would you kindly send me up first?
Spare 8, Champ, this is the control tower. You're not cleared for takeoff. Obey orders.
Go to hell.
All aircraft preparing for takeoff. Watch out for Spare 8. He's forcing a takeoff.
I'll take up command. Any objections? That'll get decided in the skies. Touche.
Trigger, your call sign is Spare 15. Consider it your prisoner number for the air. Commencing deception and interception.
So you might notice these strikes on the tails. It hasn't been explained in the story yet, but the strikes basically indicate the severity of your crime. So 1 is the least serious and 3 is the most serious, and as the murderer of former President Harling, I have 3 strikes.
I have no problem with him stirring things up a bit. But do not block the runway. Spare 15. Takeoff confirmed. Altitude restriction lifted. Go. So, no missiles again. The FCS is locked. Damn, you're good. Let's make this more interesting. Prisoners use nothing without supervision. Not even a pencil. Here comes Harling's murderer. He shot 2 missiles right between old Harling's eyes.
High Roller kind of reminds me of Beast from 3D Cross Rumble. And they're shooting at me. And I can't shoot back. See how many of these gauges are working. The compass is working, the altimeter is working. Not 100% if the vertical speed indicator is working. Let's have a look. I don't know how accurate it is, but it does respond to going climbing or descending. Yeah, number of gauges looks reasonably well modelled. The fuel flow goes up when I increase the throttle.
force is concentrated on this base. Everything on the ground is fake. Can't the enemy see that? So that convincing.
Shit! The enemy just hit the control tower!
Hey, what's with all the shaking?
Look!
Send to the fire team. Not let the enemy get closer. Are you trying to kill me? Shall I order them to shoot down all? Commander McKenzie? Damn it! Spare squadron, listen up. Shoot down everything carrying bombs. Weapons free. You're cleared to engage. Show no
Yay, we can shoot.
done by now after we make the odds. Wanna bet which one of us gets the first kill after it starts? This is the first. Counts going forward. I decide whether you die. Alright, I'm assuming command. All aircraft support me. Who's gonna dance to your line tone? I'll show you all how it's done.
I would be quite embarrassed to be a MiG-29 pilot getting shot down by an F-104. Right, to give an idea about the F-104, it was an American fighter made around the Vietnam War, well, before the Vietnam War, but the Air Force never really liked or wanted it, so the US Air Force never really used it. It was more exported to other countries. Germany, Italy, Canada, Japan. It was a plane basically to give to allies that was not as good as anything they actually operated themselves. So if an ally became an enemy, it wasn't, you know, it was something they could, in theory, shoot down reasonably well.
I've yet to confirm the destruction of the targets. Continue on with the mission.
The gas fire's been turned on because it's quite cold here, and it hasn't been turned on in about a year, so there's a lot of this smell of burning dust right now. Ooh, that reeks.
You have 3 scratches, right, Trigger? Well, you are Harling's murderer. Sorry. Oh yeah! Let's do this. Sperry, watch your mouth.
Whoa! Oh, come on, man. It's getting embarrassing now.
Oh yeah, add this one to my score.
Right, I better shoot down those bombers before they end up making us fail the mission.
Wow, look at Trigger go. Lucky shot.
We're cut off. We can't break away. We can't. Let's go. We can get the hell out of here. Hurry up and break. Behind you. Enemies locked on me. Someone help me out here.
Okay, this guy has annoyed me now. Time to say goodbye, Fulcrum.
Focus on destroying the target.
That's oof, close.
Trigger shot down a bomber. That was some fancy flying, Mr. Murderer. Head to the next target. Fox 2.
Yee.
Bingo! Let me just slide in there.
Enemy sighted.
The base is decent at what he's famous for. I wouldn't go that far. Target's that slow on a challenge. Don't let it
So these are SARMs, the way they work is if I keep the target in that little circle, the missile should home in quite well.
all aircraft follow me. You
Ooh, that's a lot of targets around.
now he thinks he's squadron leader.
Those two are moving at a fair lick.
Money riding on your survival. Some guys have got big money riding on you going down, so watch your back.
Spare 7, shut up. You don't need a yap to pull the trigger.
Very accurate, these missiles. Tell you, back in Ace Combat 6 when I would play this online, these were actually sort of my go-to missiles. You would just snipe people from long range. People didn't really know how to deal with it for a long time because most people would just straight away go for like the F-22 and Qualms, which you could basically call a noob combo, which is still true in this game, by the way. But you could probably get like 2 or 3 people down. So SARMs were ridiculously powerful in Ace Combat 6. As long as you could keep them in the circle, they were almost guaranteed to hit.
Just what kind of magic does she have up her sleeves anyway? I don't know what her problem is. Acting like she's royalty or something. That's because she's the scrap queen.
Queen? More like a bad-tempered tomboy.
Ooh, it's a blackjack, so 3 hits.
Spare 15, what the hell are you doing? Attack!
But he killed Harling with his guns too.
4 targets remaining.
5 missiles left, 4 main targets. Right, I'll use these on the fighters.
You're low on special weaponry.
Ooh, that one missed.
Good going. That cheers me up.
Pipe down and keep your mind on the mission. 3 targets remaining.
Do 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 do. Two for the blackjack.
2 targets remaining.
Celebrate a squadron of convicts. Gotta be some kind of reason.
One's actually enough.
Papier-mâché strategy at the base seems to be doing the trick. Guess every man and his dog has an idea how to end the war.
1 bandit left. Take him down now.
First come, first serve.
Approaching target. Open the bomb bay doors.
Boom!
Hell yeah!
Hey, do you have a read on the situation?
Okay,
The
that
last
was
enemy is down. The bombers are
a
ripe
little
for
bit
the
closer than I preferred.
Looks like we get to go home early today, gentlemen.
And that's everything.
Trigger does all the work.
Even our noble count is no match for Harling's murderer. All targets confirmed eliminated.
Yeah, hell yeah. Still alive, Harling?
Good day for the Starfighter.
Dinner's on me tonight.
Cut the chatter, Spare Squadron. Mission complete. RTB.
With, you know, the plane that's very much more plane than wing.
The devil in his corner. Spare 7.
The reason it was known as a missile with a man in it.
Eyes while landing.
Then you win. So what? You're not done?
Just checking.
Landing time.
Control tower, make your landing check. We don't want a wreck blocking the runway. Spare 15, you have permission to land. Wind conditions are calm.
Alright, I'm gonna go well off this time. And get low so I can manage the speed better. You see that speed going up? I am fully braking at the minute.
2 miles to go. Raise your nose. You're too low.
Okay, that should be good.
One mile to go. Heading is good. Stay on course.
I am fully braking. See? speed's starting to go up again.
You're past the guidance limit. Make a visual landing. That plane is worth more than your life. Show some respect.
I lost a lot of money for that trigger. Don't forget.
Ain't it good to be loved?
You have permission to take off. Go now.
Woo-hoo! My blood's boiling!
SU-57, not going to get that for a while.
Did I say you could take down the enemy? Throw anyone who disobeys into solitary.
Whoa. My reward is solitary confinement. I'm going to do one more. Then I'll probably switch over to try Mega Man X7 for the first time, which should be awful in the good way.
Mihai's granddaughters liked to keep to themselves mostly. They were well behaved and possessed a sort of quiet elegance. From time to time, I'd catch myself looking at them, wondering what they were talking about. I'm sure everyone on the base did the same. They were such enthralling creatures. Every night, a crowd would gather around.
I don't think we're going to get to see Dog, by the way.
They were the men tasked with guarding him in the air. Their jackets all bore the same patch, a relic from a nation that was long gone. Decades ago, during the Age of Expansion, the Kingdom of Erusia absorbed many countries. Theirs was one of them. Mihai asked them,
"Yet what is a nation? Can we actually see the physical lines that divide one from another?"
People of my generation can no longer speak the language of our homeland. My grandparents always look sad when they see I have no idea what they're saying to me.
Mihai didn't say a word after that. His scarred face betrayed no emotion. He didn't get those scars from flying, though. Mihai was originally from Shalaji. His real name is Mihai Dimitru Margarita Corneliu Leopold Blanca Carol Aeon Ignatius Raphael Maria Nikitas A.
That's a long-ass name. I didn't notice that before.
When he was young, he was the heir to the Grand Duchy of Shalaji. Then, revolution broke out among his people. Mihai was betrayed by a close friend who pointed a gun at his face and pulled the trigger. The revolution was successful, but the new country that sprang from it was annexed by the expanding Kingdom of Erusia. The Erusian royal family allowed Mihai's family to retain their title and noble standing in the new kingdom. But Mihai surprised them all by signing up for the draft like an ordinary Erusian citizen. He was then accepted into the Air Force Academy by order of the king. Mihai soon became an ace pilot. When the royal family was ousted and Erusia became a republic, he continued his service for the new regime.
And he's also apparently the trainer of Yellow 13, the instructor.
One day, a classmate of
Oh,
Mihai
we are going to see Dog. What a way to end. We will end with Dog.
I noticed the rose emblem. She laughed like a princess.
There it is.
And I found out later, she was indeed the daughter of Erusia's new ruler.
And again.
She was the connection to the royal bloodline everyone was looking for.
Rip Photoshop Dog.
The monarchy. This new princess was truly a godsend for the Erusian people. If Mihai's granddaughters were like the moon, she was like the sun, around which everything seemed to orbit. Her face was so expressive. It's no wonder the people of this war-torn country instantly felt at ease when they saw her speeches. They started singing.
Certain resemblance to Princess Elise from Sonic 06. Oh, I didn't realize Dog made second Photoshop appearance.
Independent from hers. angelic.
Incredibly well behaved.
I wonder how Mihai felt about all of this. It was my job to research his neurological data, after all. I wish I could figure him out. Whatever his feelings were about losing his homeland, he kept hidden. Even from me.
Right. Definitely last mission. Boom, 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 boom.
Your mission is to atone for your crimes by attracting the enemy's attention. First, I want you to head from the base to the desert region of Roja to the northwest. And then second, you will attack the large Erusian base there. We've been unable to verify that base's ability to deal with fighters. You will attack and provoke the enemy into revealing their AA strategy. Get them to fire at you as much as you can. That way, we can confirm where they're firing from. Then it's a case of sending in a regular force to clean them out. For this mission, we prepared a frontline base that can be used for ammo replenishment and aircraft repairs. However, this is not for you guys. Only the regular force has permission to use it. Even if you run out of ammo, don't forget that you're just decoys. You stay out there as targets for the enemy.
Good to be loved, isn't it? Very clear about what our role is. Okay, let's look at this more. Because I got the cash, so we do need to start unlocking some things, even if I don't use them straight away. I've got the Griffin. Rafale's far too good for the current role, though. I bet the F-15 might be the way to go for now. So what's these? That's got SARMs. All right, okay. Right, we'll go with the J. Because that's when you got SARMs, which are technically inferior missiles, so we'll say. Oh, I'm so torn about this stuff. I like to think about what should be the canonical path there. What's that? Upgrades from that. Oh. That would be my final slot instead of anti-icing. Yeah, okay, we'll see how that goes. Anti-icing is probably more important in a different mission. In future, I'll probably ditch the cannon for the sake of
Some welcome.
the anti-ice.
Out and attack. We're clear to attack, right? I heard the regular forces were gonna clean things up.
It's just like before. We blow the shit out of everything.
Sharp as attack, aren't you, Spare Aid? Regular forces can reduce losses if you tenderize the base first. If you can't handle that, just fly and be a target.
We're being attacked. Enemy aircraft. Whole squadron. Ready the anti-air interceptors.
Oh, that missed. That's not good. Oh, and I got shot. And more shot.
Transport truck spotted. Not a threat, but feel free to take them out.
Is a kind of specialty of mine.
We're hitting 3 locations. Some have air power, so their threat levels vary. Think of the best way to rob them of their ability to respond. Use those empty heads of yours. If you die too fast, you won't even be useful as targets.
What are the odds of getting out alive?
That's for you to figure out, Spare 7.
Oh, that's really not good. That's terrible. Oh dear.
However, you guys do not have that luxury.
So, what are we supposed to do?
Target destroyed.
Finally have a read on the targets. They're in one hell of a place. I'll take them steer. I'm out. Returning to resupply. How are we supposed to work without ammo? I'm heading back.
Nice try. This stuff isn't for you guys.
Let's be honest here. The regulars like us aren't allowed to resupply. But in your heart, you want us to smash that base. Am I off?
You're gonna wish this mission never ended.
Looks like Bad Dog's finally come around.
AA gun down.
This bastard wants a piece of me.
Vehicle down.
Champ, shake off that missile.
Oh no, gas tank. Not the normal kind of tank.
Cut the crap. There's work to do.
Target confirmed destroyed. Trigger again.
Damn, missed again.
Target hit. A bomber is taken off. That's for us. Take care of it. All enemy bombers destroyed. That should put a wrench in their plans.
We can sleep in for once.
That bomber's getting away. Chase it down like you mean it, morons.
Ejecting.
Fox 2, Fox 2.
Trigger distract one.
It's a bit of a miss.
Hostiles in your area are nearly wiped out.
Okay, that's the airfield pretty much taken care of.
Try to catch some more lead.
You're giving me another shot? Must be my lucky day.
The enemy base is divided into 3 sections.
Ooh, Harrier.
Destroy just one of them.
Well, a Harrier 2, because it's Navy B.
Trigger's the one who
Kinda hope they'll be made playable in DLC as well. It'd be a bit of a shame if Assault Horizon's the only Ace Combat game with a playable Harrier. Actually, Infinity had them as well. That would still be a shame.
This base uses its surroundings. You're good.
Spare 15, missile away.
Enemy has a lock.
Jim, missile coming! Frank! Trigger's taking out one of the AA guns. Trigger has destroyed the target. Someone take out the AA.
Do 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 do.
Hostile has a lock. Tabloid, missile coming at you.
Target is annihilated.
We'll see about using that return line or not.
Trees destroyed all the trucks. Fox 2. In gun range.
I'm trying to conserve the ammo. Very Ace Combat 5.
New blips on my radar. Get after them.
That was because you didn't have any option to resupply. Ooh, fighters.
Another base commander makes a big deal whenever a new mission comes in. But it's just one after another. Like that was the plan all along or something. Battle doctrines. Something happens, they tell you what to do next. Osia has one. It says where and when pawns like us will.
Oh, that was bad. I had to let that go because of an incoming one.
Let's make a bet. Whoever guesses the next strategy wins. You can get in on this too, Van Dog. Maybe you guys need to cool your heads off in solitary. Let me look into this doctrine thing. A bribe is all you need to look into a terminal. It's amazing how many people write their password on a note by their desk. Gathering intel is all about fake access. This is Spare 11. Enemy base dead ahead. Damn it, we can't do this from the sky. We need ground troops. Spare 11, just do your job. Just give us a bomb big enough to build the area.
Right. Ooh, gas tanks.
Spare 15 locked on. Trigger destroyed the enemy facility while everyone else was sleeping. The murderer's done it again. Gonna have to rethink the odds. Spare 15, missile away.
Darn. Oh, okay.
Chaffin flares deployed.
Oh, they're in a tunnel, eh?
If only I could bring a radio to lift my spirits. AA gun down.
I was a little bit reckless.
They have me spiked. In gun range.
Do 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 do.
Spare 15 has entered the clouds.
Woohoo.
Target destroyed.
Enemy missile detected. Evading.
Aircraft approaching at high speed. Bearing 280.
Oh. Yes. Here come the drones.
They're drones. These must be the infamous drones.
They can dogfight without pilots?
Machines are not replacing humans. Calm down. They're just obstacles in your way. Don't forget your original mission. It's bad enough just dealing with the surface. Damn.
Bandits in the tunnel. They're taking off from inside. The tunnel? You've gotta be kidding.
Did the jailer know about the shitstorm he was sending us into? People units are just pawns. That lying son of a bitch. Don't pretend like you deserve any better. Continue with the operation.
It's very ham-fisted, but, you know, that's sort of the charm. It's a very over-the-top, cheesy anime fighter jets. That's kind of the series thing. Oh, really?
Attack didn't connect. Nice kill.
Spare 9, lock on bandit.
5 minutes remaining. Damn, these guys are agile. This is Spare 7.
Yes, they are.
Shit. Someone get this enemy off my tail. I can't. I've got my hands full too.
I roll a missile. Shake it off.
God damn it, I'm hit. I'm still at the table. I roll a missile. Another one. I've got a bet on me getting out of this.
Oh, lost one guy.
But I see some of you still have ammo. Continue with the attack. Keep yourself nice and exposed till I say otherwise.
What happens to a bat when the bank is out? Another man down. There's no point. Retreat.
Follow your orders. Continue the operation. Deserters will be punished.
I'm hit! My aircraft!
This isn't even a fight. You want to lose all your pilots?
Shut up.
Try and stop me. I'm getting behind the trigger. Stick with the best if you want to survive. If anyone wants to die, let them. Good decision on your part. I've still got top score. Count? Man, you're useless. Everyone knows you inflate your numbers.
We should be focusing on the ground stuff, but eh.
Looks like we're the only ones having fun out here. Trigger, the one with the highest score wins. Let's settle for the best once and for all.
3 minutes remaining.
Too low and you'll get fired from the ground.
Do.
Spare 15, Fox 2.
Oh, you little.
Chaff and flares are running low.
Enemy sticking in my rear.
I miss ESM from Ace Combat 6.
I've shut down 6.
Bullshit. We're still on 2.
Hey, are you sure your radar's working right? It's not like the ones who scurry back to the base, Trigger. I'll give you that.
On your ass.
Rocked on, bandit. Missile inbound. Evade.
2 minutes remaining.
Well, afraid the Swedish planes must go down.
In gun range. Fox 2.
Oh, crap. That was my bad.
Spare 15 locked.
Come on. Nope. Got me too slow.
7 down. That's more than an ace. This is a whole new kind of war.
5 kills to become an ace.
Missile inbound. Hostile has a lock.
Fox 1.
You don't really get modern aces, as it were. Nope, that's coming from him, so I don't want to fly straight towards him. I'm doing a hell of a job of just being a target, I'll tell you that much.
Spare 15 is cleaning up. 10 crafts down.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. You've hit the enemy base enough. Operation is complete. Head back. The bastards who flew off are going to wish they...
Oh, he's become invincible. Boo.
Damn right. I wouldn't be surprised if we're thrown in solitary too. Hey, who wants to bet who goes into solitary? That's what that gambling nutjob would say if he was still here.
I actually didn't use the base to
Where's your sense of humor, guys? Your
Rihanna,
buddy's making
so.
a joke. Laugh already.
Yeah, joke about us dying. Yay.
You lost planes, but the mission succeeded. However, some of you crossed the return line for supplies and for repairs. This will result in solitary. Take them.
Womp womp womp. But I didn't do it this time. Alright, and that is going to be Ace Combat 7 for now. In this stream, and I'll do the preps. I'll keep it live for the switch over to Mega Man, which this is going to be a thing. Love how you've got to have a dedicated copyright section now. I'm going to end with a sneeze. There we go. Oh, sorry.